Are you scared of the dark? It's the dead of the night. Are you looking for the light? It's the dead of the night. Are you looking for the light? It's the dead of the night. Do you fear the dark? In the dead of the night. In the dead of the night. In the dead of the night.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to 31 Days of Horror. I am Morgan Film Fan. Let's jump into some scares. Dead of the Night was released in 2013, if I'm not mistaken. It's 2013, that is. It stars Tony Todd, rest in peace. I definitely picked this one, being a Tony Todd film that I've never seen. And being that he very recently passed away, I wanted to carry on his legacy by adding one of his features to 31 Days of Horror. I've known about this film for a long time. I've always seen this cover here and there, but never got a chance to watch it. And this film is very different than what I was expecting it to be. This is directed and written by S.J. Evans. And this is a British film, which I didn't know. And this is mostly a found footage film, which I also didn't know. I was guessing that they were going to use Tony Todd more so for the marketing, and that he probably wasn't going to be in the film a whole lot. Now, Tony Todd is certainly in this film way more than I thought he was going to be. However, he is a side character compared to the other characters going on in the film. Now, what we have going on here is Tony Todd is an American living in Britain. He owns this manor, and he married a British woman. She's not in the film, but he owns this manor, and he's, I don't know, the caretaker of it, I guess. There's these ghost hunters who want to explore and shoot an episode of their show or channel or whatever it is that they do in this manor. So they, you know, there's lore behind the manor, and there's a history of it, of hauntings, of this child death that occurred way back when. And they want to capture, you know, they're ghost hunters. They want to capture footage in this place. So Tony Todd lets them in and says that he has to lock them in there and then come back for them at 6 a.m. because Tony Todd will not be around this place at night. And he warns them with no, you know, they don't listen to him. They just one ear and out the other. They want to do this show. They do not heed the warnings of Tony Todd whatsoever. Mr. Ruber, I think his name is, Tony Todd in this film. So Mr. Ruber, or Lord Ruber, allows these kids to go into this manor, and then shit hits the fan. It is pretty much basically just a found footage ghost hunting story. I reviewed this film called The Crying Dead for 31 Days of Horror a couple years ago. Forget which year exactly, but it's still on the DVD, and the review is up on the channel. The Crying Dead is a found footage ghost movie in the same sense, and this film very much reminded me of that one, to the point where I think they would make an excellent double feature. This film also gave me a little bit of Grave Encounters vibes, so you get a lot of obvious night vision, people walking around like Blair Witch style, a lot of paranoia going on because there is a mystery component to this film. You also get police officers investigating the situation because the film starts out the next day, and this crew was murdered and killed inside the building, and obviously Tony Todd is being questioned for it. But then we go to the events that took place throughout as the film goes on. And one of the police officers has this bucket of tapes, which plays out almost like, I'm gonna butcher this name, Bukowski tapes or something like that. Plays out like that. Now he's watching these tapes, but you don't necessarily see them one by one as in the Bukowski tapes, but he is watching this footage after it happened. The film plays out like a mystery, but it doesn't necessarily feel like a mystery. This film got a 2 out of 5 for me. I didn't love this film a whole lot. I didn't find any surprises with it, and unfortunately, for the most part, it was quite boring and repetitive, especially repetitive. If it wasn't so repetitive, I probably would have given it higher. But you are just following these characters that have no development to them. They're very basic and dull, and they're just walking around this mansion filming stuff, and you know, there's not a lot of meat to this film's bones, unfortunately. For what Tony Todd is given in here, because he's mostly at the beginning of the film and then he comes in a little bit at the end. And then the rest of the film, the meat of the film, or what is there, is this camera crew. He's a presence, and you can tell that the creators of this film wanted to make a ghost story and use Tony Todd for the marketing. Which is smart on their end. More of Tony Todd or Lord Ruber's character would have been nice to have featured in the film, at least a little bit within the ghost hunting story. The characters just aren't interesting enough as much as they could have been. The story is kind of 50-50. I'd say it's fine. It's not terrible. I like the cops and the police officers' involvement in the story and the plot. The one main guy watching the tapes is a very hard cop, and he really, you know, he's tough as nails. He wants to get this thing solved, kind of thing. And the person who plays the villain, the killer, is good. He's very menacing, and he does a good job. He's very creepy. He has this menacing voice, and his presence on screen is felt, I would say. But it is unfortunately quite a mediocre film, and the poster is a little bit misleading with Tony Todd holding the hook there. Although the sickle is a cool weapon and is used throughout the film, it's a very cool weapon, Tony Todd doesn't use it. Spoiler alert, Tony Todd does not use this weapon because he only owns the mansion, the manor. It's you know, it's one of the people involved with the ghost hunters that you know, is revealed to be the bad guy. There is something that happens in the end that gave me a little bit of American Psycho vibes. This involves the killer, obviously, but the presence and the personality of the killer and certain way that things are shot reminded me of the film American Psycho, so I'll just leave it at that. I've seen better ghost hunting films, basically. Now, it's not the worst I've ever seen, but I do have to give this one a 2 out of 5. Tony Todd, you know, he's a legend, and he kills it on screen when he's there. Yeah, the film is just very average and unfortunately quite forgettable. I will keep it, of course, and I will give this a rewatch. I do want to double feature this with The Crying Dead, as I mentioned earlier. As of now, unfortunately, just a mediocre film. But midnight releasing, I'm glad I added it to my 31 Days of Horror journey for day 13. And like I said, I have seen much worse, so there is that. But thank you for joining me for day 13. Thank you for sticking around for 31 Days of Horror. I hope you're enjoying it so far. I hope you're enjoying discovering these new films as I am. Unless you've seen some before, please comment below in any of these reviews and let me know your thoughts on any of the films that I've reviewed if you've seen them already, or if you want to see them, if the way I'm describing them sounds interesting and intriguing. And spooky season is still approaching, so we got many more days and many more films to get through. Until next review, sleep tight tonight.